Welcome back. We will now start with chapter 7 for module 2, and here we will be discussing about the very first thing, that is barriers to communication. Now, what basically are barriers to communication? Barriers can be anything that can be defined as an obstacle, a problem, or a hurdle that basically does not allow the communication cycle to complete. So when the sender is trying to send something to the receiver, maybe there is some sort of issue, some sort of problem, some sort of obstacle that the sender is not able to let the receiver pass the message correctly, or it could be the other way around, that the receiver may have got the message, but again, because of certain barriers to communication, certain obstacles, he is not able to reply to the sender with regards to a reply in terms of the feedback. So when a communication cycle is not being able to complete because of any of the issues that we will be discussing, understanding the various types of barriers, we say that they act as barriers to communication. Now, generally speaking, we have 4 major types of barriers to communication. Let's take one of them one by one and understand it in detail. So the very first barrier to communication are the physical barriers. The second one are your language barriers. The third one are socio-cultural barriers. And the fourth one are psychological barriers. Right? So physical, your socio-cultural, your language barriers, and your psychological barriers. Let's take each of it in detail. So now let's understand what are these physical barriers. Physical barriers are basically all those external problems that make it difficult for a sender and a receiver to communicate. These are the problems or mechanicals that are happening in the physical environment of the sender and receiver. So 5 components constitute the physical barriers. Now, what are these 5 components? So basically, or we can say that there are these 5 types of barriers to physical communication. So very first is the noise in the surrounding. The sender is probably trying to communicate in a premises that has a lot of echo effect. Okay, or maybe in a situation where the fan is making a rickety noise. So the sender is constantly talking, maybe using the oral mode of communication, is trying to explain a certain point to the students. Like, let's take a teacher and a student example. So the teacher is explaining to the students in a physical classroom scenario, and the noise of the fan is constantly disturbing, distracting the students, and at the same point in time, it is acting as a barrier to the teacher to be able to continue with what she's trying to explain. So we say that is what explains noise in the surrounding. Or for example, you may have a certain meeting, but your office is situated on the road kind of a side parameter or a situation. So, and then there is a sudden wedding procession that's going on. So the noise that's coming in from there can disturb the meeting situation, can disturb the kind of communication that's happening between the members, in terms of the sender and receiver, and we say that's noise in the surrounding. Then the second one is non-availability or defects in the communication mode, or these instruments that we use to communicate. Now, what is the understanding for the same? For an example, the mobile phone sometimes of the one who is kind of talking to has developed certain issues. The speaker has issues, or the handset itself is not very clear and it's giving a buzzing kind of a sound. So when he will be trying to speak to the other person on the phone, because of the voice, because of the problem that persists in the device, you're not able to communicate. Or maybe as a politician standing in front of masses addressing to them, the mic develops a certain issue. Okay, one of the string goes loose, or it's not very audible. We've always seen, that when you try to speak to the mic very close, there's a kind of a noise that comes in. So what is that? That is where there is a defect in terms of the mode that you're using to communication. So again, that acts as a second factor for physical barriers to communication. Then the third barriers would be defects in the overall system of communication in the organization. Alright, there we understand the concept of red tapeism and corruption. So for example, if there is a lot of corruption in an organization, there is a lot of red tapeism. People do not let nepotism in a way, that people don't let the feedback from the lower level pass to the upper level of the management. because of the fact that maybe they would be exposed, or because of the fact that they would look like non-competent enough to take certain decisions, or they would look like they didn't come up with these ideas and somebody younger, somebody lower in hierarchy came up with these ideas. So they don't pass on these ideas to the upper management. So that again can be one of the parameters or one of the factors that affect the communication cycle. The fourth factor that we talk of is with regards to the time and distance. Time and distance plays a very important role when you're trying to communicate. Let's take an example from the point of view of you communicating between a person sitting in India and US. Now we know that the time zones between India and US are way different. When probably we have our morning afternoon times, that's their sleeping time. Vice versa. Moreover, every year they have a certain months that is a concept of daylight saving, where they have longer days towards a day. So the working cycle that they follow versus what the Indians follow are going to be different. So when you try to communicate on these grounds, because you're physically so distant from each other in terms of space, your barrier to communication, there will be a problem, because maybe when you want to talk to them early morning when you are fresh, maybe it's their sleeping time and they are not in the position to grab what you're trying to say. So we can say that distance plays a difficult role. And at the same point in time, as I said, that biological clock, when it's nearly 11, 12 in the night, your biological body clock tells you that it's time to go to sleep. You may not really be productive at most at that point in time of the day. And the person whom you're having a meeting with, or your client, would be in India, and that would be like an early morning start for them. So they may be really productive, really energetic, high on energy, high on stamina, great performance at that point in time, but you couldn't. So time and difference. And then the last parameter in terms of physical barrier are the health issues. Now health issues primarily would be with regards to the speech or hearing defects. So somebody who's got hearing problems, they cannot hear the normal frequency that people try to communicate in. So we say that they have hearing defects. And in terms of speech defect, maybe my pronunciations are not clear. I am lisping, okay? My pronunciations in terms of where's you going, yours is using the word S after every word. So that could be a reason where you're not able to communicate. And in health issues, we can also put into the parameters. See, for example, somebody's got a cold and still is in the mode of communicating. So constant coughing and constant sneezing will also act as a barrier, will act as an obstacle that they're not able to communicate properly. That's where we understand the 5 parameters or 5 factors under physical barriers. So quickly, let's go through it. Physical barrier is something that affects the external surroundings, and that could be in terms of the noise that we have. It could be the defect or non-ability of the instruments or modes of communication. It could be the system of an organization with regards to either being red tapeism, corruption. It could be the time and distance as a barrier. And last but not the least, it could be health issues. Now let's move to the second important barrier to communication, which is known as the language barrier communication. Language is the most important tool in communication. So the second parameter or the second physical barrier that we'll be talking about today is the language barrier to communication. In general, we say that if you do not understand somebody's meaning, we can categorize it as semantic barrier to communication. When we don't understand somebody's grammar or there is incorrect usage of grammar, we say that is syntactic barrier to communication. When somebody's pronunciation or pitch has a problem, we say that's phonological barrier to communication. And when somebody's in general language acts as a barrier, means I know Hindi, you know English, we're not able to communicate, we say that's linguistic barrier to communication. So semantic, synthetic, phonological and linguistic. But more or less, we can also say that language barrier to communication can also be known as semantic barrier to communication. Now, under this language or semantic barrier of communication, we will be understanding the various barriers. One, in the general case scenario of the language that can act as an issue, and second, specific to only English issues that come in when we are trying to communicate. Right? So let's start with understanding the very basic barrier, the general barriers that come into picturization when we say that they act as a language barrier. The very first of it being inadequate information or knowledge about a certain thing. So you really may not have been to, in terms of an example, you may not have been to certain XYZ location and XYZ country or an XYZ city, and a group of your friends are discussing about the same. You have no information about it since you've not been there. You don't know what it looks like, what it feels like. Your experiences, your observations are new. So that will become a barrier to communication to you because you can't connect with it. Right? Second, we say that there comes a barrier to communication in terms of language when somebody doesn't have the right kind of pronunciations, the grammar is an issue, or there is a spelling error. Now, grammar, either it can be in terms of when we have oral communication or in the form of written communication. So when you want to call somebody for a meeting, but the drafting of the meeting is not proper, you do not know how to use the tenses. Where is the meeting going to be? In the future tense. But you are using maybe the present tense. There is a meeting that was scheduled. Instead of it will be scheduled, it was scheduled. So, not using your grammar tenses properly can lead to miscommunication and act as a barrier to how you want to communicate. In terms of spelling, accept, right? These two words, when also we'll be studying English as a general barrier, we'll understand the concept of homonyms. That homonyms, homophones and homograms. So spellings of words that pronunciation wise are the same but are different. Accept. So instead of accepting, ACCEPT, we are writing accepting, EXEPTING. So that ways you can say that there will be a spelling error, right? Then and there. Then and then. THEN, THAN. Pronunciation same but that. So that we'll discuss when we go ahead. And in terms of pronunciations, as I said, when my pronunciations are not clear enough, naturally that can act as a barrier. The third kind of barrier will be with regards to using a more of technical jargons. Now, what are these jargons? Jargons are that every industry, every type of organization, every sector has certain words that they use day in and day out, and the people in that particular profession, in that particular industry understand it very clearly, right? When I say that you will be marked absent and no marks will be given for vivas, from student-teacher perspective, you know what your vivas mean and you know what marks mean to you. When I say that the same thing in an organization, they will not understand it on those grounds, right? Or we can say the very new famous term that's constantly being used is the new normal. Now, new normal for all organizations are going to be different. The new normal for maybe the IT industry would be that coming, say, 5 years back, they're going to be work from home only. There is never going to be a situation that they're going to office. It's all going to be virtual. Whereas the new normal for maybe a banking regulations could be that they would have to sit with their masks. They would have to entertain the customers who come in, at the same time do a lot of cold calling, at the same time entertain the guests, virtual parameters. So new normal, which is a technical jargon, which is a jargon which means different in different industries, right? Can, if used in a conversation, can lead to, in terms of understanding, can be a problem. Or use of slang or tricky phrases. Okay, slang is YLO. YLO. You only live once. Or FOMO, fear of missing out. So when maybe the youngsters are talking to the middle-aged people or the oldies, and they're using such abbreviations in their chat language, or maybe just in the normal conversational language, the other person will not understand because he's not familiar with such abbreviations, such slang language, maybe words, the cuss words in a way. And at the same point in time, using tricky phrases. The cat is out of the bag. Apparently speaking, it's like your secret is out, right? So when you're communicating and these issues come into picture, at the same point in time, if there is faulty translation, okay, maybe it could be the interpreter who's not understood what the other person is trying to say and then communicated wrong to the receiver. As an example, when an Indian and Chinese communicate, they need an interpreter who can convert the Chinese to the Chinese person, and whatever the Chinese has spoken, that to the Indian person in whatever language he is comfortable with, English or Hindi or whatever, however the translator's profile is. Say for example, his Chinese is not that great, and the Chinese has said something to him, his understanding for it is not up to the mark, and he communicates wrongly. He has a faulty translation for it to the Indian. So maybe this person would have said that I will give you the payment only after I receive your order, or I get in 50% of my order, whatsoever be the deal. This person tells him the opposite of it, that first the advance will be given, then you'll have to deliver the order, something like that. And there can be a major chaos in terms of how they are communicating. So these three grounds or these major four grounds, we say that there can be a general barrier to communication. Right? Now let's move forward to understanding what can be certain barriers specific to the language of English. Alright, so in continuation to what we were doing with regards to language barriers, let's look at certain barriers that come in terms of the fact when we are communicating in English. And why are we doing this is because English is the most widely accepted, spoken and understood language around the world. So there are three grounds on which we can say that they can act as a barrier to English communication: homonyms, homophones, and homographs. Now let's look at each of it in detail and understand the difference between the three. Homo in general means the same. The meaning of the word is same. Nyms is the name of the nyms is name. Okay, so homonyms, that is same name. For example, the word light, L-I-G-H-T. Two ways I can use this. I'm feeling very light today. Okay, means not heavy, light. Can you please switch on the light? That's the electrical light that we are talking of. But the spelling for it is the same. Okay, the pronunciation for it is the same. But the meaning when used in the sentence can tell you what it is trying to say. I'm feeling light means I'm not heavy, and that's the kind of feeling that I'm having today. When I say switch on the light, I mean the electrical light needs to be switched on. So with homonyms, we need to understand three concepts. That is, they have the same spelling, they have the same pronunciation, but they have different meaning. Then we move to understanding homophones. Homo, again, as I said, is same. Phones is the meaning of sound. Now, what happens in this particular case is, I will give you an example first and then I'll explain the three parameters again, how they differ. I hear you. I hear you. I am here. Right? So, ear and here. E-A-R and H-E-A-R. So, what is happening here? The pronunciation is the same. Spelling is different. And even the word, the meaning is different. Right? So, here. Okay? We can also understand it from the concept of wait. I'm waiting for you. My wait is so much. So I'm wait for me. So wait. W-A-I-T. And my weight is whatever. So W-E-I-G-H. So they are homophones. So what is the concept here? The spellings are different. The meanings are different. But the pronunciation is the same. So maybe when we're having conversational English, homonyms and homophones can act as a barrier to communication. And last, again, with regards to homographs. So homo means same and graph means the pronunciation of it. Will you wait for a few minutes? Okay, listen to the word minutes. I think this needs to be noted down in the minutes of the meeting. Okay, so we are using the same spelling, pronunciation, but different meaning, right? Okay, so minutes means the time that we talk about. Can you wait for a few minutes for him to come? Okay, and let's take it the other way around. There are these minute details that you have to follow. So, same spelling, M-I-N-U-T-E, but the pronunciation is changing. So, what happens in homographs is the pronunciation changes, right? So, what are the three components here? The meaning is different, the spelling is the same, and the pronunciation is different. So, two different things, okay? So, quickly, we'll just have a recap of what we did with regards to the conversational English and the barriers that can occur with regards to it. First, homonyms, homo same, nyms as in the sound, right? And we did the concept of light, right? Then we moved on to understanding homophones, where it's the sound concept, okay? Here and here. Last we did homographs. I think that's going wrong.